How do you look to manage Jalil's minutes tonight?
I'll bring him in behind Nerlens, and he'll come off a bench, and we'll play him as if he has been with us for a while. You know, I see it cleanly, where he will come in and grab that backup 5 spot behind Nerlens.
Nerlens has been with you since day one. What has he brought to your club, Brett, beyond just the numbers?
I mean, he came in, and from the beginning, he and I were able to spend a lot of time with each other because of the injury. And so for me, it was a wonderful opportunity just to get to know him, where we rebuilt his shot. Like, I wouldn't let him touch the ball with his left hand. He shot one-handed shots for I think 5 months, 4.5 months. Think of that. And it was fun. Like, I have a 12-year-old son. I'm the son of a coach. You know, rarely in the NBA do you get that opportunity to take somebody and rebuild something. And with Nerlens, it was a chance to do that with his shot, to get to know him, spend time with him. And so I've seen him grow over that period of time that you're speaking of. And, you know, he's got a kind heart. When you talk to him, you all will feel and see what I do. And he is an A-plus elite athlete. He really can be a game changer defensively. And so you've seen, you know, the person, you've seen his shot, you've seen what he does, defend and, you know, block shots, that stuff, grow. But he has been with me from day one.
When you look at Ja, and you think of the stuff that he's going through, but you also think of the way he's carrying himself, is it kind of, you have to like root for him, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I
it
do.
may not happen for you here, but I just wish you the best of luck in everything you do and hope that you're successful.
That is right, and because he lets me coach him, and he lets me communicate freely with him. And, you know, by doing that, you don't fear the repercussions are dramatic for him and the team, that you coexist amongst trade rumors, amongst injuries, amongst whatever. And he also, and you'll see it when you speak to him, he's a good person. He really is a good person. And he's only 21, and he's Jahil Okafor, and his body of work is well documented, and he can play. And he always needs to be reminded of that. I tell him all the time, go read your resume. You got a lot to offer. And while he is here, I will coach him, and I will double down and coach him harder. But I have a soft spot for Jahil Okafor and a respect, because I've seen how he's handled this that's greater than it was when I first had him. And I think it's a statement about him as a person that we're all seeing.
On the court, as you guys go to the break, are you ahead of where you expected to be, around the same point? How would you compare it to expectations?
I really mean this. You won't believe me, but I really do mean this. I feel that the win total and, you know, things that we did in January aren't the thing that I think of first when you ask that question. I feel good about how we do our job. I feel good that my assistants are good people that do good jobs, that are in the lanes and have the responsibilities and roles. You talk lots about players knowing their role. My assistants know their roles, and I coach my assistants hard, and I expect a lot from them. And they've been with me now for a while. And so the foundation of how we do our job, I feel really confident about. I feel good about that. And then the byproduct has been, well, our guys are getting better. They're improving. And, you know, our team is reaping the benefit of that, because the individuals, the pieces that the foundation is producing is improving. And so the end result is we win more. And, you know, I think that when you ask that question, for me, it goes to how do we do our work way more than a quantity of wins.
Brett, beyond Isaiah Thomas, how do you approach the Celtics?
They really can score. They really, really can score. And, you know, the last 2 times we've played them with 30 seconds left, it was, you know, 100 to to 100 one of the games, and it's 102 to 100, the other game. And we're there at the end. The good news, as I said to the people this morning, is I feel like we're playing good basketball right now. The bad news is they are playing as good a basketball as I've seen them play in a while, because they just, I feel, are firing on all cylinders with just firepower. Isaiah Thomas, what he is doing to the NBA, and the volume of points that he scores, and what he does in fourth periods, and what he does, in back-to-back games, what he does. We haven't checked on what he does at the first start of a back-to-back. We haven't looked at that. But you look at what he's doing to the league now, and, he's an all-star for a reason. And so I know you asked, apart from Isaiah, but you can't help but talk about him and the firepower that they have collectively. When you talk about how do you try to give yourself a chance to win, you have to find ways to defend them, and they're really hard to do that.
Another question about Isaiah Thomas is, last year he was an all-star. This year, are you surprised that he's become one of the leading scorers in the entire league?
I mean, he's so unassuming physically, and so like you look at him, and it's not like you're looking at LeBron or somebody that's tall and all cut up. He's very sort of unassuming when you just look at him on a court, and then all of a sudden you start studying him and his ability to, I think, control speeds. He can go from 80 to 100, back down to 40, back to 90. He really can get you off balance and create separation. And that, because he can shoot, now lets him dance and get to the rim and, take a hit and finish. And there's sort of there's a toughness in him that you may not think if you just saw him, warming up or just looked at him. And so his growth, in our league and what he's done for this program, you really step back and have tremendous respect for what he's doing.
Coach, you mentioned about how the Celtics can score. How much, from what you saw of them last year to this year, do you think Al Horford means that even if he's not the one who's doing the score?
You can't even put a price tag on that. He was coached by a close friend of mine in Atlanta for a while, and there is if you just go to the person, and there's a veteran class, and there's an elite, mind, basketball mind, and then you can start talking about his actual game. And so what he does to a locker room, what he does from an experience perspective, then you take the unusual skill package he has where he can bring you out, he can stretch the court. Even when you study the last time that we played here, Joel gets sucked in on a drive and they kick it to Al in the corner, for a three. That's an unusual matchup for a 7'2" center. And I think that Brad does a really good job, creative job on using like Olynyk and Horford especially, with how they can stretch the floor, and letting Amir shoot corner threes. And kind of all over the place, off the court, locker room stuff, on the court. I think it's just a sensational acquisition and piece that they have made to legitimately look at them now, as one of the elite teams in the East. It's a wonderful building block for sure.
So if three guys going to the Rising Stars Challenge, even if Joel's not playing, does that say something about what you think the caliber of the team's nucleus is at right now?
And I'm so disappointed that TJ's not in it. I think it's so unfair. It's yes, it is. Yes, it is. We aspire for more. We hope to put some people in the varsity game at some point. But it is a statement, of where we're at. How can we not be proud of that? I feel like, we're a few years away from, hopefully having, more representatives in that game. But as far as a statement to our guys' development and what we have in the program, I'm proud of our guys for going down to New Orleans and representing our program in that game.
Brett, I'm sorry if this is old news, but what's the latest on Ben Simmons? And are you guys still hopeful that he will be able to play at some point this season?
We are. He's progressing fine. I've mentioned to a lot of people there's sort of a three-pronged program intact where we're trying to rebuild his shot a little bit like the Nerlens thing that I spoke of earlier. We spent a lot of time with him in a classroom type atmosphere with me, you know, going through like a John Gruden NFL quarterback reads, and like I give him the clicker and the tape and we say it's fun. It's like, what do you see? You know, my ambition is to try to give him the ball and see if he actually can be a point guard. And you know, that's a heck of a statement, but I feel like why not? You know, we are still in that experimental type stages. And then the final piece is his recovery with physiotherapy, etc. And so he's doing well. We do expect him to play this year. It is our expectation that he will get on a court. It's moving slowly. It's calculated. We're trying to be very careful. And I feel like after the All-Star break, when he's got a chance to begin practicing with us and start playing against actual defensive people and him guarding, that we will better judge on when that time frame is. But I think that the path right now is solid.